Hi, Uplift family. My name is Katrina Hertz, and I'm the social emotional learning instructional coach. And I first just want to start off by saying thank you for going on this journey of uncharted territory for online learning or distant learning with us as a network and also with us as the social emotional learning team. We are just excited to take some time today to talk to you about social emotional learning and how it can be integrated into your distant learning agenda. Social emotional learning? Hi, Snelly. Where'd you come from? Well, your room. So, you all, this is one of my very slow but patient friends, Snelly. He's visited quite a few classrooms um, over the network or throughout the network, and I guess he's just really excited to be here with us today. Is that right, Snelly? Yes. All right, y'all. So you've met Snelly. So again, this presentation is just going to walk you through some resources and an agenda for what could it look like to integrate social emotional learning. So again, we are here to be of service. Service? Guess I left off our other friend Pup. Here's Pup. So Pup speak. Hello, everybody. Pup is not shy, but Pup was taking a nap. And so Pup heard the word service and the social emotional learning team, including myself, Katrina Hertz. We are here to be of service to you. So if you have any questions about anything that is in this presentation, feel free to reach out to me, my name, my email, and my personal cell phone number on the first slide. Thank you, and we look forward to this adventure with you. So now we're going to go into what could an agenda look like for you integrating social emotional learning into your distant learning agenda. And so it really would be you doing a greeting, an emotion check-in, or mindfulness activity, or both. Your content, so your enrichment content that you have already planned that you're going to do online, and then some type of movement challenge. So you won't necessarily do the movement challenge with the scholars, but just giving them a point of reference of something they could do after they are done with their distant learning for the day. And then lastly is the optimistic closure. And so this presentation will go over all parts of this agenda. Hi, y'all. Pup and I are back, and we just really wanted to talk to you about the first part of the agenda, the social emotional learning agenda being integrated with your distant learning, and that really is the greeting part. So, the greeting is an opportunity for you to continue to build community with your scholars, even though it'll be more so one on one. It's just a chance for you to reassure them with your voice, with your personality, with you also talking about experiences that you potentially are going through right now that you deem essential for kids to know, or just to have insight into even your day-to-day work and your day-to-day experiences as we go through this new learning platform and also just like these new elements of life. So on the next slide, I'll just kind of go through some examples and what that could look like to do a greeting. But I would just really think about your morning meeting or your morning circles, and we're going to really grab some pieces from that to implement throughout this entire agenda. Thank you all. Here are a couple of examples, and I'm going to go through the examples of the next slide. But just think about like even the funniest thing of having an image of a bear just like waving. My scholars, when I was a teacher, would have definitely known that this is my personality, and they know that there's potentially a story behind this, and so that would be a part of my greeting. So let's go to the next page. So here are some examples of the actual links from the first slide. And so the first slide just talked about question of the day. So here's a bank of questions of the day that you could actually do, and I'll model what that looks like on the next slide. But just grab a question of the day, or maybe you had a morning meeting book that you used already that has some amazing resources in it. Pick out some that are relevant right now or things that you've always wanted to share with your scholars, but maybe you hadn't had the chance. So just take some time to do that now. I also have linked some just like virtual, like mini videos that you can use more so like the motion picture ones, the GIFs. And so take a time just to go through those. I'll upload some more as the weeks go by, but there are about 6 or 7 there now that you could use as you want to. So I'll just go through if I was still in the classroom, how would this look? So, say I'm getting online, well, I'm recording my actual distant learning lesson, and then I have a scholar that is about to watch my video. This would definitely be the first thing that they see. So, here we go. Hi, Morehouse. I know that you are taking the time to sit down and do some learning today, but before we get into learning, I just wanted to, do one of my silly greetings. Oh, here's a cute little bear. So, as you all know, I want you just to take the time to slow down and speak to those around you in your home, maybe those who are passing, in their cars on the street going to work, are doctors and nurses, and people who work at grocery stores. So, if you see those people as you're outside playing or as they're driving by, or just to be, nice and polite, give them a nice little wave. And so, we usually do our circles, and at this time, I'm recording this around 9:30 a.m. and this would not be morning meeting time. We actually will be going into math, into Eureka Math, but this is a sentence stem that I just want to share with you. So I've been thinking a lot about my friends, and I think that the best thing about a friend is that they're always there for you. And so I'm thinking about some of my friends during this time who have called and checked on me or video chatted with me, and I'm just really thankful for my friends right now. And I think the best thing about them is that they check on you. So that would be how I would do my greeting. And so the next is an emotion check-in, and so we know that we often go throughout the day not taking the time to just stop and just realize, what are we carrying, how are we feeling, how have situations through the day impacted us. And when we are able to acknowledge that, then we can actually have actions to move forward. And so that's extremely important during this time, because scholars potentially are sitting down to dive into distant learning, and they actually haven't checked in with themselves. They know that they feel like some type of emotion, but they're not really sure what it is and what to do about it. So I believe that there's power in one, and you are one teacher that they're going to engage with on this day at this moment. And so you have the opportunity to not only help them to recognize how they are feeling, but also give them tools and to model what that looks like. This is just a process that I would go through. And I'm not going to really read through this, but I'm going to note that you definitely are just trying to first identify what is the visual aid that I'm going to use in order to best support my scholars being able to check in with their emotions. And so this is pre-K to second. And so I want you to take the time on the next slide when you look at resources to actually think about what resources is going to work best for my scholars given their age group. And so the first one is literally picking a visual of emotions to display to your scholars. So here's a link of 3 emotion charts. This last one is 50 calm down technique for kids, and they are for all ages. I found things on there that would definitely work for kindergarten, that would work for third grade, that would work for middle schoolers, even high schoolers. But there are so many that I want you to think about what are some that I can pull to then best support my scholars. The good thing is you know your scholars, so you'll be able to support them throughout this experience. So one of the first ones that I grabbed is one that actually goes through a process. And so it asks scholars to, how do you feel? And if, say, you have pre-K or even kinder, and they might not be able to actually um, state what the feeling or the emotion is, you could just really ask them to point at the screen um, for the emotion that they are feeling right now, and then to be able to say, like, how is it? why did you pick that emotion? Like, what does that emotion say? So it could say sad to us, but they might say, like worried. And so it's also important for them to be able to articulate what it is that they are seeing. But some other ones that you could do, I'll note on the next page. But they can take, and this is just like some action steps they can do. So even at home, they could set a timer. They could think. They could draw a write about how they're feeling, and then come back to whatever that is, whether it is work or whether that is an activity with family, a game that maybe they were frustrated by. These steps also work for at home. And then this is just a kid friendly activity for them to do, for them to be able to say, like, I feel this way, next time I will. And some of those things might apply to home and some of those may not. And so you also can just provide some calm down strategies if it's a really big emotion that they can't handle at the end of this section. All right. So, the next part will be mindfulness, and this can be done in conjunction to the emotion check in, or you can just go straight here if you feel like you don't have the opportunity to do both. But I definitely would do an emotion check in and a mindfulness activity. And if I want to limit that to 5 minutes, then I would go through and schedule how does that need to look for this to happen in 5 minutes. So, really, mindfulness is about being present, being able to be here right now. And it helps with like internal things and also external. So the way we're feeling inside, and also like being able to release tension and stress that has built up in our body. So the good thing is that this is the last thing that you would do before you go into content. So this can really, really help scholars to focus their attention on the learning that you're about to present. Snelly, are you okay?
Yes.
Okay. So here are some mindfulness activities that you can do virtually. And so the first one is a mindfulness activity card. The second one is a library of resources or a library of videos that are specifically for pre-K to second grades. And there is a password. So just make sure that you have the password there for you or for your scholars, if you're definitely sharing the link with them and families on Google Classrooms or other platforms. And then the last one is a sensory activity called 54321. What those look like. The first one is the mindfulness activity card. And then this is just a screenshot of the library of videos that can be done at home. And most of them are for pre-K to 2, but some of them do specify for 3 to 5. And if they have no grade level, that means it's also for pre-K to 2. So after you do the mindfulness activity, this would really be a chance for you to, this is the opportunity for you to teach your enrichment content via your online learning. So you would do your greeting, your emotion check-in, mindfulness activity, and then really just tell scholars now that we've had a chance to check in with our emotions. Also think about a strategy and a do a strategy. Maybe that day you did balloon breathing or you did one of the other mindfulness activities. Now we might be able to focus better to then jump into today's objective. So we wanted to do some movement, have that involved in this agenda, but we understand that we might not have enough time to do all components. So this is one component that we definitely encourage you to have scholars do on their own. We know that some scholars are playing outside, playing inside, taking a walk, whatever it is. Some scholars are moving at some point in the day, but some scholars might not. Some of them might need their amazing teachers to remind them to get some movement in. I know that I go walking or I exercise now every day more than I have when I wasn't having to work from home. And so we know that that alignment between body and mind is going to help them focus, and it's also going to help them just be stronger physically and emotionally for the day, for the things ahead that we do or don't know about. This, um, they could, the first resource is getting them to spell out their name, and so they get to spell out their name and then do workouts that are based off of the alphabets of their name, and then also some yoga videos from Cosmic Yoga. If you are a fan of that or know about Cosmic Yoga, those are all on YouTube, and the Go Noodle movement. Those are all on Go Noodle, so you do need a login for that, but it's also free. Some of Go Noodle you can find on YouTube, but these you definitely have to log in to access. And so will scholars, and so you can set up parents to be able to do that. Um, and I can send out the parent link for walking parents through signing up for Go Noodle. Examples of what those are. The first one is what's your name, and scholars spelling out their name and then doing the workout. But you also can get extremely creative with this. So if scholars are working on sight words, they can spell out the sight word first and then do the workout. Or they can spell out maybe their middle name or their last name or whatever it is that you feel like you also could align this to academic content. Feel free to do it, but it also gets them moving and they don't even realize. These two videos of these two videos are of cosmic. They're from Cosmic Yoga, and so I just wanted to show you that there's like Minecraft yoga, and then this one is Ant Yoga, which were referenced on the previous slide. And so now it's just all about closing out the time that you had with scholars. So you did your lesson, and then you talked about a movement challenge that you wanted scholars to be up and moving. And now we're just closing out this social and emotional learning and academic distant learning with scholars. And we really want them to have an intentional way of reflecting on their experience. It's not necessarily like the cheery ending, but it's really getting them to sit with the things that they have absorbed throughout the time with you. So examples of that literally can just be a sentence stem. It can be I'm thankful for, I tried hard today, because, and so you can set any of these up for scholars, and then the idea is that whatever we are asking scholars to do, that we also are modeling that just like in our lessons. So definitely model this like you model your emotion check-in. Stop and take the opportunity to engage with scholars with this optimistic closure. Let them know what you're thankful for. Let them know what is one next step leaving online learning that you are going to do. So these are just some examples. If you have any feedback or questions around this or the process or the steps, reach out to me. The steps are also located in the notes of this section. So this last part, I just wanted to close with my own optimistic closure, and before I sign off, and it is that I am thankful for Uplift placing social emotional learning as a part of online learning, distance learning. That we know that our scholars are experiencing a lot, just like we are as the adults who are also going through very similar shifts. And so I'm just grateful to be able to support you all as you jump on this plane that we're literally building it as we're flying it, because we're taking in feedback, getting insight from family, from you all, from parents, from scholars, from leaders to figure out how to best support our students at this time. And I'm also grateful for the fact that I'm looking at my phone and it's 86 degrees. So I'm grateful for the weather that we have in Dallas at this present moment because I will be going walking. Again, I appreciate all of you all. And if you need me or Pup or Snelly, let us know. My email address, and I guess you can contact them the same way. It's on the first slide, and my phone number is there as well. I appreciate you, and give me any feedback. I am open to it because feedback is a gift. Thank you.